It's now Friday morning, and we decided to go ahead and take off, and we are leaving St. Augustine Municipal Pier. It was pretty nice pier. I would recommend it. I enjoyed the time I stayed here. Like anything else, they're a little expensive on my budget, but anyway, I don't want to travel uh, Saturdays and Sundays, so and I do need to be able to tie up at a marina every once in a while, basically so I can take a shower. They have showers there. They also have water so I can wash down the boat because that salt water really takes a beating on the boat and on the engine. So you also have to flush your engine and everything. So having to stay at a marina is kind of like a must-have. At least try and do it. I try and do it 2 times out of the week. Uh, and then the rest of the time I either anchor out somewhere, or sometimes you run into some docks that are free to tie up on. I find that a lot of the parks, those little small parks areas that have boat ramps, will also have docks. Some of them do say no overnight docking, but some of them say nothing on there. If that doesn't say you can't stay overnight, then I normally just tie up on there like I did when I was in Flagler. I was able to tie up on a dock that was right by a boat ramp, and that was the film I showed you the last one before this here. So a lot of times it's really where am I at, where do I want to go to travel that day. Today I figured, well, it's Friday, so I'm going to travel to Jacksonville. I'm leaving St. Augustine, and I want to try and get to Jacksonville today. It's not a very long run, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to make it to Jacksonville today. And then once I get to Jacksonville, I'll look and see what's going on and where I want to try and spend the weekend. Uh, Here I'm turning the boat around because I wanted to show a picture of this huge houseboat. Beautiful boat. Anyway, uh, we're going to go ahead and turn around now, and we're going to head out underneath the bridge. Uh, I did happen to notice that uh, while we were going underneath the bridge here that it was open, and although most of the time you can cross while it's opening and closing, but they don't recommend that while they're opening or closing the bridge that you go under it. A lot of things I guess could go wrong, but they don't. They really won't, I guess, say anything to you, but they don't want you to go through there. I decided because I don't really, you know, it's not a very tall boat. I can fit under anything, to be honest with you. So I decided just to come along the side of the where the bridge wasn't. Sometimes it's not a good idea to do that because sometimes they put a lot of the foundations here. They'll throw some rocks and some stuff underneath of it to kind of help the foundation. But when they do that, they'll put a caution, rocks below, do not attempt to cross or whatever. But I made it across, no problem. So now we're going to go ahead and head out to Jacksonville. Uh, while I was coming underneath the bridge there, I realized I saw the fort, and I didn't take a picture of the fort from the water side. So I decided, well, we'll take one more picture of the fort, and then I'll go ahead and be on my way. So I kind of looked toward where the fort was, and I thought, maybe I should try and attack it and see what happens. But as I went ahead and started heading toward the fort, you can see the fort right in front of me now. Hey, nobody shot cannons at me. Nobody told me I couldn't go in those waters. Uh, so I guess maybe they thought, they didn't want to fight me. So anyway, nobody fired cannons at me. So I went ahead and turned around and decided to go ahead and leave. I had a time frame I had to be with in Jacksonville, even though it's not too far. It was only right at about a 3 hour, 4 hour run this time. Uh, and since Saturday and Sunday was coming up, I figured, well, might as well go in there now and see if I can find somewhere to stay over the weekend, since I'm not going to be driving over the weekend. And you'll be able to see in the video here why I don't like going on the weekends. Right out there, right there is the open water. And here I am getting close to where the open water was, and you can see the water's getting choppy. That's because a current is coming in. When you have a current coming in like it was there, all that water out in the Atlantic gets shoved into just this one little space here. And it gets going pretty fast. When you're trying to fight a tide like this or a current like this, you could be normally when you're speed at 10, 12 miles an hour. Now you're down to 6, almost cutting your speed in half because of the current pushing you. You're trying to go against the current and it's pushing you out. So as soon as I got away from that inlet there, though, the water's calmed down a little bit, and it was a great day the whole time. But as you can see, there's going to be a bunch of boats out here tonight or today, even though it's only Friday. There's already boats out here, so I kind of figured, well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to go ahead and, since I'm not traveling very far, go ahead and take off and see what happens. But did run into a lot of boats, and of course when you do that, you get all this bouncing all over the place, and it slows you down. So but it's something that's kind of normal if you're going to go out during the weekends, or let's say starting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday's still not too bad. You still got people that got to work on Friday before they can put their boat in the water and take off. But I decided it's only a short run, so I decided I wanted to get to Jacksonville anyway. Just to kind of try, and Jacksonville's a pretty good sized town, so I figured I would be able to get there and find a nice spot to stay the night, and then find a spot to stay, Saturday and Sunday. So I wasn't sure if I was going to anchor off or tie off somewhere, and then try and find something Saturday morning to stay at a marina. And like I said, I stay at marinas so that I can, they have showers, and they also have electric, so I can plug in to electricity, and that'll charge my batteries back up. Even though while I'm running, the alternator on the motor is charging the batteries. I am using the batteries because I'm running all my electronics, and I'm plugged into my laptop, my tablet, and my cell phone, my extra VHF radio. So there's a lot of extra things that are plugged in while I'm running. And even though the alternator is producing right at about, if I'm not mistaken, about 58 or between 56 and 58 amps. Half of those amps are dedicated to the batteries and charging up the batteries. The other half is dedicated to running your electronics, like your GPS, your depth finder, your VHF radio, and whatever other equipment you might be running. I run a VHF. I also have a GPS, and I also have a depth finder On top of that, I carry a spare VHF handheld radio that is charged up, and I use that in the event of an emergency, or when I get off the boat, if I'm, let's say, on an island somewhere just checking it out or cruising around there, I go ahead and take the radio with me. Uh, I ran into this little community here that you're seeing now just before you get to the bridge, and I looked it up on the map, and it doesn't show anything on the map of this thing even being here. So I don't know why this thing showed up, but it's there. Uh, I guess it's not big enough to be considered a town or anything, because there's nothing on Google Map that says what it is or what town it is or whether it's just a community. But there was a little, it looked like it was a home at one time, and they converted it into a little restaurant, put some docks up on it, and you were able to go ahead and tie up and go in there and have lunch and dinner according to the sign there. But this was kind of funny because I couldn't find it on the map. So, but it was here, as you can see. I went ahead and went past it. It turned out to be a pretty large community. That was the other thing that surprised me, something that large and it still doesn't show up on a map as a town or anything. But I went ahead and kept going. As I was saying later on, before this, I also carry a handheld VHS. And that's sometimes when I beach the boat somewhere on an island. And I do take, obviously, the keys with me. I don't leave the keys in the boat, but I take the keys and I lock the boat up. But I also take that VHF handheld radio. And that's in case of an emergency, if I have to call or something happens and I have to call the sheriff's department, or if I have to call the Coast Guard, I can do it with my handheld VHF. So it comes in handy not only as a backup, but also to carry around with you when you're not on board the boat. Here we are going, go ahead and take off again as soon as we get underneath this bridge. We always have to slow down when you're coming up to a bridge. There's always no wake zones when you're under a bridge like this. So as soon as we get past the bridge here, we'll go ahead and pick up speed again and take off. Well, I thought I was. I actually saw the sign there that says minimum wake, and it didn't say for how long, so we actually couldn't even pick up speed. We had to travel at the same speed that we were traveling before. Now that we kind of leaving the community here, I saw on the map that in Jacksonville there was a dock that was free at no charge, and it was a floating dock, and they said it was pretty nice floating dock. It had some good reviews and everything, and I thought, well, obviously you could save some money by going into that dock. And I was following it on Google Maps, and I was also following it on my GPS. And as I got closer to it, I started to look at it and realize, well, this might be. Now, here you can see again these boats going by, and they really don't slow down or anything. Of course, I guess they don't have to, but as a courtesy, it wouldn't be bad, because when you get these boats that, especially when you get 2 or 3 of them coming all at one time, that really bounces you all over the place. As you can see, the boat has, for one, it slows down some on your speed. Then it takes it a while to pick up speed up again. And 2, it's just the pounding that you're going to be taking. On Saturday and Sunday, when everybody is out, boating, it's even worse. That's why I really don't travel, or would try not to travel on Saturday or Sundays, unless it's way out somewhere in a rural area where you don't have to worry about too many boaters. But This is Friday, and you can see there's been quite a bit of boats coming in and out of here. So it's taking its toll, but that's just part of boating. Anyway, I was thinking, I saw this spot uh, where it said there was free docking in Jacksonville. So I decided, well, since it's not going to cost me anything, instead of dropping anchor, I'll just find this dock. And it did say it was a floating dock, and it had good reviews on it. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find this dock and tie up there. Since it's not going to cost me anything, it'll be free, and it'll be a lot easier when you're on a dock versus tied up on the hook. Now, as we're going, as we're getting closer to Jacksonville, you can see more and more boats are coming in, going, and it's getting to a point where, well, it's just not fun, to be honest with you, because you're constantly pounding up and down on the boat. But anyway, I started to get close to Jacksonville, so I started trying to look on the map and see where this dock was. And I noticed as soon as I got on the other side of this bridge here, I started noticing way out far, I could see what looked to be some docks. So I thought, okay, maybe those are the docks that they were talking about that are going to be free. So I decided, when I did check my GPS with what I was looking at, it didn't quite match. I was off a little ways, and I wasn't sure why am I off, because is it my GPS that's wrong? GPS it'll get you close, okay, but it doesn't put you exactly at the spot that you're supposed to be, but it gets you close enough. So like when I'm running in the channel, sometimes it says I'm out of the channel, but based on the markers and looking at the markers, I am in the channel. So you got to go by what you can see. Now here I found the docks, which I thought, okay, this must be the place they were talking about, where there were floating docks. And I thought, okay, here's the place where I can tie up for the night. What I did notice is that right in front of this also was a bridge, and on that, as soon as you go underneath that bridge and to the right, that's the Atlantic Ocean. So the current must have been coming in, the tide must have been coming in, because it was pushing the boat over a little bit. So I figured, hey, it's gonna be hard to try and come in. I didn't want to come in on the windward side, because that would push me right into the dock and then be pounding the boat all night long. So I didn't want to get on that side. So I figured, well, I'm going to switch over and get on the inside between the land and the dock. And I said, because it's so close to the land, and I didn't have to really worry about how shallow it is, because I only draw 18 inches. So I don't worry about, am I going to be, grounded or whatever. According to the GPS, it was showing 3 feet at low tide. So I figured, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. So go ahead and put out my lines. And all I really have to do is just get close enough to the dock where I can throw a line into one of the cleats. And once I do that, and I do this while I'm steering the boat. I open up the little window that's right there, and I tie the line there on the cleat to my boat. Now, as I'm coming in, all I got to do, like I said, is throw the line and catch one of those cleats there. Now, I see this guy sitting here fishing, okay? And he kind of just keeps looking at me. And he sees that I'm having problems with the wind, pushing me away from the dock every time I try to come in. And every time I try to come in and I miss, I have to turn around and try it again. I just can't keep going, because obviously I'm going to hit that big old rail sitting up in front of me. So I have to keep going and turn around and then try it again. And that's what I did. I went ahead and figured, okay, I'm gonna reverse it and come back in again. Meantime, this guy is looking at me. He could have, had was if he had any courtesy whatsoever, he could have said, "Hey, you want to throw me the line and I'll put you on the cleat." Here I am for the second time trying it again, and as you can see, I'm gonna bump the dock there, which really shouldn't try and do that. But as you can see, the wind now is pushing me away again and pushing me to the side. So I thought, okay, I can't come in this way now. I have to go ahead and go back out and start all over again. In the meantime, this guy is still sitting at the end of the dock, just watching me do this. It was like, hey, the least he could have done is stood up and say, hey, throw me the line and I'll go ahead and get you going. Now, here I am again trying it one more time, but I'm at an angle where I just can't do it. I have to. The wind is pushing me too far to one side. So I went ahead and reversed, and I went back out again. Because basically, what you do if the wind is pushing you a certain way, what you do is you turn around and you come back. Now this guy now decides, okay, well, he doesn't even want to look at me trying to come in. He just starts and he sits and he's facing now the other way. So he, doesn't even see what I'm doing or where I'm coming in. And I'm over here trying to line it up again, turn around and line up and try and come in again. I did this 4 times. It took me the 4th time to finally be able to throw the line and catch one of the cleats coming in. And, it was I was so ticked because, like I said, all this guy had to do was just say, hey, throw me a line and I'll help you and I'll tie you up. At least once you throw one line and you can put one line on a cleat, the rest of it, you don't have to worry about it. You can break out another line and then you can go ahead and fix the boat the way you want it fixed. Make sure all your lines are tight and everything. This guy went ahead and gets up and he just starts walking away. This is basically what he did. Never once come over and said, hey, give me the line. You can see he's walking toward the dock, okay? He's watching me do this. All he had to do was say, throw me a line, and here he is. Just nothing. Doesn't say anything to me. He sees I'm struggling. He sees I'm trying to throw the line over the cleat, and he's still just nothing. Doesn't say nothing, doesn't do anything. And I thought to myself, he's, you would wish he would at least say, hey, come on, throw me a line and I can help you. But he never did. So I have to keep doing it. I went ahead and went around again. And now finally, the 4th time, I finally got it. Turns out once I tied up and everything, I went up to use the bathrooms and stuff. And I went to the bathroom and then I went to the office and I asked them, I said, hey, do I need a permit or anything to tie up here overnight? And the guy says, we don't allow overnights. And I said, well, according to Google Map, it says it's a free dock and you're allowed to spend 2 days here. And he says, no, you're talking about the docks that are on the opposite side of the peninsula here. He says, you got to go around the little peninsula and then you'll see there's some docks back there. And those are the docks that we're talking about where you can tie up. So after all of this, me trying to come in and trying to tie up my lines, which I finally did, turns out I'm at the wrong docks anyway. So it was kind of funny afterwards. I was kind of ticked because of this guy. Didn't even bother to help. But like I said, I eventually got him. I eventually got close enough through where I threw a line over over one of the cleats and was able to tie up the boat. And you can see the guy still standing there. He's right behind the pylon. You can barely see him. but he's right behind the pylon. Uh, it he saw me, doing this 3 or 4 times already. You would think he would have offered to help, but nope. I guess he was too busy fishing. He was catching too many fish, I guess, and he was just way too busy to help me. As you can see, the boat kind of stopped abruptly. That was because I finally threw a line, and I finally was able to hook up. And here he comes, walks right by, and never says a word to me. Just, hey. Yeah. So, anyway, I still had to end up moving and going to another place because this was not the right docks. But the place I did go to did have some floating docks just like these right here, and it was pretty nice. It was kind of in a marshy area on the other side of this peninsula here, and there wasn't a whole lot of places. I mean, they did have bathrooms, but they were locked up. So I thought, well, I guess I'll just have to walk over to this one here if I need to go to the bathroom. But they did have water. They didn't have electric, which was fine. I can run my batteries. I have house batteries. One of the batteries that I have is a 200 amp hour battery. I can run that all night. I could even run my air conditioner all night if need be, and it'll keep me cool, and it won't drain my batteries. They are lithium batteries. For my starting battery, I have a 100 milliamp battery. And finally, like I said, I had to go ahead and once I tied up and everything, I had to untie and move out of here. And now here I am on the opposite side of the peninsula here. These are the docks that were for free. Okay, and you can see it here. This was a little bit easier to tie up, even though you still had a strong current going. It was a little bit easier for me. It as you can see, they're nice docks, and they're floating. Once again, floating docks is the best way to go. Here's a free boat. Anybody interested in it? It's for free. All you got to do is come get it. Good size too. And we have a lot of free boats here in Florida. Trust me. Anywhere you go in Florida, you're going to find these boats, and they're derelict boats. I don't know whether there was any numbers on the hull here where they could trace it or anything, but a lot of companies will salvage these boats just to get them out of the way. Plus, they get to take all the steel railings and the cleats and anything else that can be resold. They'll take that, and then what they do is they have these machines that they crush fiberglass and turn them. They use the fiberglass and turn them into mulch. Here I am toward the night as it's starting to get night, and decided to take a film as this big long barge coming up the channel here. I went ahead and spent the night here. I tied up and had my dinner, and then right after that decided to go ahead and watch a movie. I saw about 3/4 of the movie, and I ended up falling asleep. So maybe tonight I'll watch the rest of it. But anyway, this is Friday night, getting ready to end the day. Next time.